Welcome to Turning You Hip Hop. This is a brand new special edition. This is the first time we're going to do a movie edition of Straight Outta Compton. I am your host, Mr. Spade Perry. And to my right, I have Bass Polo.
Bass Polo DJs.
And to my left,
what's going on? It's your boy B Rich.
And fellas, this is a special day for us because we actually going to give y'all a movie review. We're doing Straight Outta Compton. If you haven't seen that movie, this is a spoiler. I would suggest turning it off because we are going to be talking about the movie and what goes on in the movie. So if you haven't seen it, you need to click off of this video now. So, and furthermore, we're going to get into the release of this movie. It came on August 14, 2015. And for me, I thought the movie was amazing. This was an historic moment because this is actually good for hip hop and especially good for just showing the birth of, what was going on during that time.
Right.
Yeah. So y'all thoughts?
I thought the movie was a classic. I haven't seen a movie this good in a minute. I thought the story was great. I thought it was good for the times that we're living in now. I thought it was a good history lesson. I just thought it was an all-around good movie. The actors played an incredible part in these movies. That was one of my biggest fears is who was going to play these roles because NWA, so I'm from the West Coast, so I grew up on that, and I didn't want to be let down by this movie.
I wasn't really sure how I was actually going to feel about having new actors. I heard Dr. Dre and Ice Cube talking about bringing in new actors, and they didn't want really the baggage to come in. But the actor that played Eazy-E, Jason Mitchell, I thought he did a phenomenal job. And one of the biggest things that I'm a real critique person, and he just had his movements, how he sounded, how he talked, how he moved. He had Easy almost down pat.
Right.
I don't really know. He said that he talked to his son. They brought him to Compton. I'm not sure if y'all know that. Jason Mitchell is from New Orleans, so this hometown for me. You know what I'm saying? So we was actually winning with that.
Well, another actor that played Ice Cube, his son, man, he made the movie believable. It's like he was really looking at NWA with all the other actors. All the other actors did their job excellent. Right. And that was a good movie, boy. That was, couldn't imagine nobody else playing that movie better.
I actually couldn't see nobody else playing Cube part.
Yeah,
I think for me, he wasn't a phenomenal actor, but I think he did a good job as far as his son. You know what I'm saying? I really thought that he did a phenomenal job for his son. One of the things I want to kind of get into is the budget for this movie was actually $28 million. This is actually what they started off with. In the first week, they actually exceeded expectations as far as Hollywood. They broke a lot of numbers. They came up to 60 million in the first opening week, which caused the movie company to open up 500 more to put them in theaters. So it's up to date right now. They're at 147.8 million in North America alone, and they actually have in other territories as far as worldwide, they're grossing in at 165.9 million.
Yeah, those type of
and Hollywood wanted to not do this movie.
That's going to be Hollywood's natural reaction. People are always going to have to try to fight for our rights to get these movies played because we just got that stigma. But now that this movie has broke down this many doors, hopefully we can see movies like this in the future.
But did you?
Well, one of the most impactful things about the movie is how it's collided with things that are going on in these times. With the police brutality in the movie. We got a lot of that going on right now, and I thought they did a great job of explaining why NWA reacted the way they reacted towards the police. They didn't just make it seem like they were angry niggas with an attitude. It was a reason behind it.
And one of the things I definitely like is, it's crazy that they were talking about this in 1988, and it's 2015, and it's still going on. The police brutality, even when they showed the verdict of the Rodney King thing, what I thought was real interesting was you watch Easy watching the verdict, but you could tell that he was hurt. You know what I'm saying, from it. And that, to me, that's what brought the realism, to me, because I thought that got to be a real part because who was gonna say, hey, write this part in? Easy was kind of hurt when they read the verdict and stuff like that. I thought that was real interesting. Another key moment in there is, a lot of people, especially younger viewers, is, hey, believe me, if it wasn't for NWA, all these South Parks and censorship and all this stuff, this is the first rap group that actually took on the FBI. And when the FBI letter came and Easy them was sitting at the table, it was kind of like they were shook. And what you got to realize is that these guys at this point in time, they're like 17, 18, 20 years old.
Yeah.
So you're talking about having a national threat from the FBI not to perform the song "Fuck the Police." You know what I'm saying? And these guys still went out there and did it.
Anyways.
And I thought that as a whole, like, it actually covered like lead ups to why that song was actually made. When I saw them outside of the recording studio when they was doing the Straight Outta Compton recording session and the police rolled up on them, I got real irritated when I even saw another black man talking to them, calling them gang bangers. Right. And then at the same point in time when Jerry Heller was there, he was saying, listen to your master, go ahead, get in there, boy. Like, what did y'all think about that part?
I mean, it's always that one black dude who, is a sellout. That's pretty much what we call him. We call him Uncle Tom. They think they fit in, but they really looking dumb themselves. I mean, you see it all the time. That's nothing new. So, I didn't really have any feelings. It was just the whole vibe of just the police brutality that I'm just sick of. So,
yeah. But I'm glad the movie came out positive because I don't know if y'all knew, they had police and stuff outside the theater thinking it was gonna be a riot or something. Yeah. But it's nothing happened like that. See how they do? That's how they do it. That's how they stereotype.
You put on, Batman: The Dark Knight, and you have people walking in and shooting it up.
Exactly. Yeah.
And the thing about it is they're always gonna do that because this is also like the fear of unknown. Like I said, they had it scheduled for certain theaters, and then once they saw it coming in, it started breaking box office.
Started making money.
Yeah, started making money, beating out Mission Impossible, beating out Sinister 2, beating out War Room, all these movies. They had to start putting more theaters in there, and it didn't have controversy, but of course it didn't escape it unscathed because now you see lawsuits coming from Jerry Heller. You see lawsuits coming from Suge Knight. And these are people that I'm just like, if the movie wouldn't have made no money, you know what I'm saying, you wouldn't have heard anything from them. And even Dre is catching a lot of flack. Like, I would never say NWA was some quote unquote good group and they just cut out certain parts. Like, this was a movie that spanned it over like 20-some years. So you're talking about trying to cram everything in. And certain people had discrepancies that they weren't in the movie. You had Miss L.A. She was saying that she was a beat up girlfriend, and they're not going to talk about that. Right. And you had J.J. Fad, who was actually the gateway to NWA because they was actually on Ruthless, and they were actually went gold. And this is before Straight Outta Compton and everything came out. Okay. You know what I'm saying? So they felt like they should have been mentioned. Yeah. But I'm like, hey, if you went gold in the beginning, then hey, that was your just due right there. Right. As far as like the Suge Knight thing, I think it is what it is. Suge's track record to me is, it is what it is.
So how did y'all feel about that? The part played in that.
Was that Suge?
Of him?
Yeah.
Who played Suge?
No. Somebody how they played the whole thing out.
Suge. I mean, I guess they played, portrayed him how he's supposed to be portrayed. Rumor has it that Easy wasn't that, soft, and he went into the beat like that from Suge in real life. But that's just what people say.
And at the end of the day, I think some people need to get it. I think they're kind of crossing the paths of reality in movie. Like, this is a movie, exactly. So it's kind of told from the perspective, but also told from the perspective of real and entertainment. Me personally, I don't think that part happened. When you think about Eazy-E was a real street dude, and just to take a page out of this book, and I'm not condoning this and that, but that takes also a lot for somebody to be slinging dope, and then one of his homeboys come to him and say, well, won't you put this money behind music? Right. Mm-hmm. You have so many dealers now, or people out in the street that saying they're doing stuff for the community, and he actually was at the forefront and head. He was just young. You know what I'm saying? So just imagine where Ruthless would have been if he would have had his business right, if we would have had, a business sense. Ruthless would have been like a Motown. Yeah. Like, he basically could have been like a Berry Gordy, and we wouldn't have needed, distribution from Priority or any of that at all. So we kind of sold that music to them. We are kind of the people that create it, and then they get money off of it. And that to me is why I think you got Jerry Heller trying to sue, because I didn't look at Jerry in any light. Like at the end of the day, he said it's business, but Easy didn't take care of his business. It's called the music business. So you had to take care of that to really understand like what was going on.
Yeah, because when they let Q go, when Q left, Q really went on to do a lot of big things too. You know what I'm saying?
Well, the people who moved on did big things.
Yeah.
So anything that you would say about the movie that really caught your eye? Any inspiring things? Anything you'd like to tell the viewers?
The only thing that caught my eye, man, it was a good movie. Like my lifespan, I was raised up and listened to NWA and Eazy-E and Ice Cube and everything. So it just really took me back into that time frame. So I really enjoyed it. Just kind of took me to memory lane a little bit,
I gotta definitely agree with Polo on this. Like for me, Straight Outta Compton, this was a historic thing. But I think like just looking at when they was performing, it was in concert. So I felt like we were actually there, and I actually took my daughter to see it, because I wanted her to experience basically what I experienced, like just growing up, because they was a big part of this culture. They shaped this culture, and it was a good thing to see us on the screen, even though it was a biopic, and majority of the time we always get biopics, but this was a biopic. I actually thought that was done, excellent.
How old is your daughter?
She is 14.
Okay, and what did she think about the movie?
She loved the movie. She as soon as I left, she was like, "Dad, I think this is the best movie I've seen."
Oh yeah.
And I think the thing about it, there's no color barriers with this. You know what I'm saying? Like, because you get to see the camaraderie of brotherhood. You get to see the adversity. You get to see the adversity of music. You get to see like how far they actually reach, what they accomplish. You got to see business done wrong, business done right. Like I thought it touched on a lot of different things that was definitely good, and I got to give kudos to Jason Mitchell, Gary Gray. I got to commend those O'Shea Jackson Jr. Like they did a phenomenal job as far as like bringing this movie to fruition, and it's not that much that we'll have movies like this where it comes off without a hitch, and there's always going to be like little backlash here and there, because I heard people saying, well, the part where they had Tupac in there, it was like, well, Tupac was performing Hail Mary in there, why was that so far? I think that was just something that they put in there,
just because it's relatable.
Yeah, just because it's relatable. But then you also have to remember this too. Tupac recorded songs at a very, very fast rate. So who's to say that when they was recording Hail Mary in there, that might have been a real scenario that was going on, because they didn't release that until after his death, and he was trying to get off of that.
One thing that I gotta say, man, I did not like Snoop Dogg.
I figured you would say that.
That part was so corny, man. I thought the dude play Snoop was so corny, man. And I like Snoop, man. I hate they did my boy like that.
I didn't find that part corny, just for the simple fact that, like, I think you're thinking of the updated Snoop. Yeah. Like when Snoop first came out, Snoop had the fade. And he kind of like.
You know what, B? I'm gonna tell you something. What Faith and say. I'm gonna tell you something. When I watched it again, and I looked at.
Thank you.
Then I looked at G-Thing video.
Thank you.
That was Snoop, man.
That was Snoop. That's what I'm trying to. So you think about it. I'm telling you. You think about an updated Snoop. You gotta think about like when Snoop first came out. Snoop was not flamboyant as he was.
Nah, man, I'm not even thinking about that.
And you gotta remember, he had like the fade, he had the hat. Yeah. Now there was like certain things that I think would be talking about is this.
He said one line, I can't remember right now, and it'd be
Snoop double D-O-G. Who you, cuz?
Like, man, it was just, I don't know, man. I just was a fan of Snoop Dogg.
But see, that's the thing about that. Like, I kind of felt like when they did the Tupac thing, like
Tupac was on point, dude.
But I didn't think it was necessary.
Yeah, it wasn't.
I really just didn't think that part was necessary. I felt like they put it in, and I understood like hey, the dude looked like Tupac, and
I didn't do that.
I get that. That wasn't even. But see, it wasn't even his voice. Like that was the thing. That was like they did a voiceover of his voice, and then just showed him in the studio, and I get the whole thing, but really at the end of the day. I really was more inspired about like how they showed Easy, because a lot of people forget what Easy meant to the rap game. Like, you know, without him, you know, a lot of people call it gangster rap, but it was reality rap, and that's just the fact of what it was. But he was the gatekeeper to that. He opened the door and pushed the door for that. Yeah. They wouldn't have been able to go to a record company and did a song like Fuck the Police and all of that type of stuff. They was specifically on Eazy's company, and he just let them do, you know what I'm saying, like what they wanted to do. So they was doing a freedom of speech type thing because they were just distributed by Priority. But that was Eazy company. It's just unfortunate that he didn't have the business, he didn't have the business part together to continue that on, and that's the only thing that, you know, that I felt thing. So that goes to show y'all, people in the music industry, y'all look at this glitz and this glamour and everything that's going on. It's called music business. You got to know your business at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? But overall, I thought the movie was great.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna give that movie a 5 out of 5.
Yeah, this is definitely a classic. If you haven't seen it, I'm with B. It's a classic for me. You know, I definitely give it a 5.
It's a 5. It's classic.
So if you haven't
watched it 4 times.
Yeah, you done watched it 4 times. So if you haven't seen that movie, go check it out. You know, go ahead and click that like button. You can hit me on Twitter. I'm at 51 Spade.
I'm at Big O 5357.
I'm at BRich0331.
Hey, check us out. Another episode of Turning You Hip Hop, and we signing out. Peace.
MTM Productions Online.com.